good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We've got some breaking news over the last 24 hours, and that is summer signing number 2 confirmed. I am the CHALL, and today we're going to be analysing a bit more on the brand new winger, Glenn Middleton. It's a bit of a historic one for those of you who've been Rovers fans for quite a while, like myself, and quite like other people as well. You'll know that there was stories that we were trying to sign him last time McCann was here, before he left for Hull City the following season and during that 18-19 campaign, before he left for Hull for the 19-20 campaign, and so forth. There was stories that we were going to try and sign him back then, and that wasn't the case, and now it feels like a 6-year wait's kind of ended almost today. But I'm going to go into a bit more detail about this. I'm going to share my thoughts on this. I've not seen too much of this guy, but I'm looking forward to watching him in the red and white. So before we get started, make sure you do like, comment, subscribe, hit notification bell so you never miss another video. And let's get straight into this one, this edition of the Rovers Bulletin, talking about summer signing number 2. And that is Glenn Middleton from Dundee United, who just got into Europe. So pretty big signing from a pretty big Scottish club. Now, we're going to start off with some of the details about this signing. We're going to talk to you about my thoughts on the player and what the manager said, what the player said in his early interview, and then we're going to go a bit more into what he is as a player, what he's like as a player, a few interesting facts, etc, etc, after doing the research following this announcement. So let's start then with the statement itself from the website. Let's start with the statement from the club. So Glenn Middleton has agreed to a 2-year deal and the option of an extra 12 months. Now, he made 115 appearances for Dundee United over 3 seasons, contributing significantly. And he's also had spells with Rangers, Hibernian, Bradford City and St Johnstone. Now, in terms of the first interviews and from what's been said, he expressed his enthusiasm about joining the club, highlighting positive discussions with the manager as a significant factor in his decision. Again, Grant McCann being a deciding factor in this one. Noted the manager's clear vision and the exciting project at the club. He's emphasised his eagerness to contribute to the team's success in League One and to connect with the fans. Now, the manager has highlighted his attributes, which we'll go into a bit more, and some of the stuff that can be developed further to enhance the attacking options. And he believes that with the right guidance and environment, he can elevate his game to new heights. And he envisions this guy as a key figure in the squad, capable of providing all the different things that make him such a good player. And he's confident that his experience and skill set will be instrumental in the quest for success in the upcoming season. So there is what we know from the interviews about Glenn Middleton. Like I said, before we go into stats and things like that and his strengths and areas for improvement, etc, from my understanding, let's talk about the signing itself in terms of what he offers. And I'm going to kind of paraphrase what I tweeted once the announcement was made. Scottish Cup winner, prime age, we're going to get the prime years of Glenn Middleton. Only 6 years ago was playing Europa League football with Rangers. I mean, he is the right kind of signing in that position. And we looked at the wings for the recruitment plan. We looked at what we needed, and you know, we looked at it and we kind of said, you know, we do need experience in that position. We do need something different in that role. Look at Gibson, look at Molineux, then you got Hurst dotting behind. I do think we're going to sign one more winger potentially, because unless Hurst has involvement in the side this season, in which case you're going to promote from within in terms of youth to kind of filter between both flanks. But it looks like in terms of the 2 players on each side primarily, because Middleton can play either flank, but primarily he's on the left side, so it's going to be Molineux and either Hurst or someone else on that right-hand side, and it's going to be Middleton and Gibson on the left-hand side. So that already is your kind of prime area. That's another prime area. Centre midfield, I think we're stacked already. I still think we might get one more midfielder, but I do think that midfielder is stacked either way. I think we'll have to wait for exits in that position before we bring in another one, because there's plenty of options out there. You've got experienced ones like your Richie Smallwoods and people like that. So, you know, and there's loanees as well. So we have to kind of wait to sell in that position, I think, or let go. But on the wings, I'd say we're pretty much there now as well. I think maybe one more on loan. Apart from that, I'd say we're pretty much ready if Hurst ain't going to go. So you've got Molyneux, you've got Hurst, you've got Gibson, you've got Middleton now. So I think that's pretty much our wingers going into the season, barring a potential loan option or a fifth choice. And yeah, I think it's a good signing. On paper, I think it adds up. I think that there's consistency, there's marks for consistency, and it'd be interesting to see what he does. Now, obviously, those of you who are wondering how he works, what kind of winger is he, how does he operate, we're going to kind of go into that in a bit of analysis in more detail. So, for those who don't know, one of his big sort of importance and one of his big traits is his pace, taking on defenders, utilising the speed to create opportunities down the flank. And in fact, the Dundee manager at the time, Jim Goodwin, emphasised the importance of Middleton simplifying his game to maximise those attributes. So it's very clear that Middleton isn't a complicated player, he is a simple player. And the more he emphasises the simplicity of his game, we see more of that pace, we see more of that taking on defenders, we see more of that utilisation of the pace to create opportunities down the left-hand side primarily. His accurate cross delivery from wide areas has been a significant asset for a while now, contributed to numerous goal-scoring opportunities for his teammates. Of course, he can play on the right as well, but he's primarily a left winger, and that's from my understanding. And I think this is very clever to note this, even though it's the season before last. During the 23-24 season, he led all 4 professional divisions in Scottish football with 10 assists, accounting for 30% of Dundee United's league goals. He also ranked second in the Scottish Championship for key passes with 21 in 20. In a notable performance, and this is something to note, on Boxing Day 2024, he ended a 16-game goal drought by scoring an equaliser in a 2-1 win over St Johnstone, which shows testament to his resiliency and ability to respond positively to feedback from his manager. And I think that's something really to know. If there's a spell where he's barren in front of goal, he can pop up and get that form back from somewhere, no matter how long it takes. So he is a resilient attacking player, and someone we should definitely be keeping our eyes on. He's got the experience to develop that resiliency as well. Now, there is a couple of things that I think he needs to develop, and that's his consistency in front of goal sometimes. I think his ability to contribute assists has been great on a regular occasion. His goal tally, though, remains a consistent area of growth. And I think that with a proper number 9 in there, when you've got Billy Sharp and Joe Ironside off the bench as well, I think that if you sign the right striker that fits how Middleton plays, how Molyneux plays, adapts to the system very, very well, you've got the opportunity to bring in a striker that's going to be fed off Middleton's crosses and someone who can drop back and feed Middleton off the flank. So as long as you bring in the right number 9 to help him, I think that Middleton will grow that goal-scoring element of his game. Of course, another thing is the refining of his decision-making in the final third. And I think continuing to refine that will affect his effectiveness and enhance that and his overall contribution to the offensive play of the team. So it's something to really keep a note of. So, I mean, for me, his journey reflects a player with significant potential with instrumental contributions in Dundee United's attacking endeavours. But his continued development and consistency makes him poised to further elevate his impact on the pitch. And I think that he will be vital in this squad. So Glenn Middleton, for me, is going to be an interesting signing. I think it offers a lot of potential still, even at 25. We're getting the prime years of Glenn Middleton here. And I think that he's someone who really offers a lot. I think when you look at Gibson with his experience, Molyneux with his experience and his goal contributions, his GA with the past season alone and the past 2 seasons overall, at least. You've got Hurst, who will want to come back and improve a point in pre-season. He ain't going anywhere for at least another year, so, unless we decide to, someone pays the compensation fee and we sell him on. So for me, I think that Middleton's the right kind of signing in that area. People who've seen my recruitment plan know I went with a lot of younger options. People like Cabby are on loan, and Luca Barrington, and just came off the loan spell, Grimsby, and players like that. but I respect what the club's trying to do here. It's a player that McCann's clearly been keeping an eye on for what, the last 4, 5, 6 years probably, and someone who he will have had eyes on. And, you know, I think they mentioned it in the interviews. You know, there was definitely offers to go elsewhere. There was definitely interest from elsewhere in Glenn Middleton. And, you know, to have that level of interest in someone and to have him come here instead of staying with a club who he's had a lot of service with, a club that's just about to go into European football, Dundee United. You know, I watched that game against Aberdeen at the end of the season, and they looked a pretty good team at times. And, you know, he could have very well stayed in that setup, but he decided to choose what the manager here wants to do, and that's to not just... And Liam Hoden, who interviewed Glenn Middleton in the interview video, spoke about it, and spoke about it from what the manager said, not being in League One just to make up the numbers, actually competing and actually giving ourselves a fair shot here. So Glenn Middleton, for me, is the perfect signing for what we want to do. He clearly believes in the manager's vision. He clearly believes in the project. He clearly believes in what we're trying to do. And for me, it's the perfect signing. I have zero complaints about this, 100 million %. To be fair, I don't really want to complain about any signing we make. It don't matter what the past of the player is. I'd rather just back what the manager's doing, and I'd rather just back what we're trying to achieve. And I do think we can achieve it. The manager wants to get us back into the Championship long term, and players like Glenn Middleton, who is a League One minimum standard, and I will be open and honest about that. I think looking at some of his highlights before recording this video and looking at some of the things he's done before this video, I do think he is minimum a League One standard player, minimum, and I think that he can get to that Championship level. I do think he has the potential to do that, even at 25. So I think this is nothing but a perfect signing. I think everything points to this being a fantastic signing. Fully back the manager with this one, like I always will, like I always do. And I do think that this will be an excellent addition. So Glenn Middleton is watching this. Welcome to the football club. Play for that badge every single week and the fans will not say anything. And yeah, this is another fantastic signing. This is another fantastic signing. Now then, before we end this, we've got to bring up something that I'm going to bring up at the end of every single new signing announcement, and that is the 25-26 season planner. Now, this is where we see where Middleton fits in the squad. So let's bring it up on your screen. It's on your screen right now. Absolutely brilliant. And here we go then. So this is the squad as it's looking so far. We have Lawler and Oram as goalkeepers. We have Sterry and Nixon as right backs. You've got McGrath and you've got the youngster Flint as centre backs on that particular side. You have got Casper Williams as the other centre back as a young prospect. You do also have Maxwell and Senior as your left backs. You then have Bailey, Broadbent, Close, Gotts and Sam Strowan Brown, and they are your midfielders. You've also got Molyneux and Hurst on one wing, Middleton now and Gibson on the other, Clifton, Sabara and Westbrook as 10 style options, and then Sharp and Ironside as your strikers. So as you can see there, and if you do the maths and you count up, you have got 14, 16, 19, 21, 23 players. 23 players already. You've got 2 goalkeepers. You've got 7 across the back line. You've got 5 in the midfield there already. 5 already. And then you've got 2 on each wing, which brings it up to 18. You've got the 3 attacking midfielders to 21 and the 2 strikers to 23. What do I think's next? I think you need the number 1 and the number 9. And I also think we need centre-backs. I think they're the priority areas. I think that's where McCann's doing most of his research. Centre-back, goalkeeper and striker. I think it'll be a lone keeper. I think Sharman Lowe is Bolton bound. I would love Sharman Lowe back, but I think he's Bolton bound. Centre-back wise, I've no idea. I've made my list. You guys know who I want. I want to loan in Maldini Kakuri. I want us to look at loaning in potentially Clinton and Tiala on from Rangers. I also do want to look at someone like a Luke Graham from Dundee, who's a long-term defender who can also start games week in, week out. Up front, again, same story. I think that we potentially could be looking at a loan deal here. We could also be looking at a permanent young number 9, but of course they're very hard to come by of the quality and standard that... I mean, look at the signings already this summer. Robbie Gotts and Glenn Middleton. We won't go below that standard, which is League One minimum. So if it's going to be a young forward on a permanent deal, they've got to be League One standard right now to wear that number 9 shirt. So it's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see what happens for the rest of the window, but what a second signing. Thank you all very, very much for watching this video. I am the CHALL. Make sure you do like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss another video. And I will see you guys in the next one very, very soon. Rovers Till We Die. Take care.